Viewers, the time for indulgence is over. Mark my words. The circus of unchecked YouTubers and so-called influencers has mutated from harmless entertainment into a festering threat to the Indian Republic. The likes of Ranveer Allahabadiya shocked us all as he wallowed in sleaze under the guise of podcasting, and Dhruv Rathi heard Sikh sentiments in a reckless grab for views. And just when we thought that this desiccated ecosystem couldn't unravel further, another YouTuber and influencer, Jyoti Malhotra, yes, the lady on your screens, seen at different places with Nawaz Sharif's daughter, Maryam Sharif, or at the border, or in Pakistan, or at the Pakistan High Commission iftar parties. This woman, Jyoti Malhotra, has been arrested because she is an alleged Pakistani asset. Yes, an alleged Pakistan-groomed influencer. What began as a democratization of media has become a sewer of disinformation, narcissism, and foreign manipulation. Worse, these individuals answer to no one despite holding sway over the minds of an entire generation. Jyoti's is an alarming case. She was weaponized by the Pakistan state to sway public opinion in Islamabad's favor here in this country, and to get the unsuspecting public to take a benign view of Pakistan, as if Pakistan was a benefactor and not an exporter of terror. Let me run you through why she has been arrested, viewers, and you'll be shocked. She was arrested by the Civil Lines Police in Haryana and booked under the Official Secrets Act and the BNS. She was developed as an asset as part of Pakistan's anti-India information warfare stratagem. During a visit to Pakistan in 2023, Jyoti was honey-trapped by Hassan-ur-Rahim, alias Danish, an official in the Pakistan High Commission. Jyoti travelled with Danish to Indonesian resort island Bali. Danish introduced Jyoti to several Pak-based ISI intelligence officials. She's accused of communicating with them through WhatsApp, Telegram, and Snapchat. Jyoti allegedly kept in touch with her handler, Danish, after the Pahalgam attack also. That's when, viewers, you remember, the government came out with a strict advisory saying that please cease all communication, all interlocution with Pakistanis. But she kept on. Jyoti made a video in which she attempts to blame India and the Pahalgam victims for the carnage. Investigators focusing on unearthing if Jyoti was part of a larger pro-Pak influencer spy ring. This is what now the thrust of the investigation is pointing towards. At least 2 arrested from Punjab have been accused of leaking sensitive information and photographs of the army and air force bases to the ISI. Jyoti was also brainwashed, so compromised, she even dehumanized the victims of Pahalgam, blaming them for their own carnage and not the Pak-trained terrorist. Viewers, can you imagine that? And also imagine how many of her followers would have been misguided into doubting their own government, that is, the Indian government, as it was preparing to hold Pakistan to account. First, listen to Jyoti.
में गवर्नमेंट की ही नहीं बट हर उस नागरिक की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है जो घूमने जाता है, जो जिसको वॉचफुल होना चाहिए. सिक्योरिटी मैं जानती हूँ कि कश्मीर में हर जर्रे जर्रे पर चप्पे चप्पे पे सिक्योरिटी होती है, इतने आर्मी के, इतनी पुलिस के फोर्स होती है वहाँ पे. फिर भी अगर ये चीज़ हुई है तो कहीं ना कहीं हम भी कसूरवार हैं, हम भी दोषी हैं.
Now viewers, Jyoti represents only one end of the spectrum. But the government is also cracking down another strata who also push a false narrative that gives Pakistan an edge in the propaganda disinformation war against India. All this under the cover of democratic rights and their own status. Fortunately, that hasn't stopped. The fact that these people are in very influential positions hasn't stopped the center from, for instance, cancelling the OCI card of an academic based in the United Kingdom, citing her alleged involvement in, quote, anti-India activities, unquote. This is Nitisha Kaur, who teaches politics and international relations at the University of Westminster in London, has been hypercritical of alleged rights violations by the Indian state in Jammu and Kashmir in the aftermath of the 2019 decision to abrogate Article 370. Here influence, viewers, here influence in this particular case, many think borders on insurgency. Not influence, but insurgency. The less said, the better about, quote, Aman ki Asha, unquote, circuit. In this, there's Congress Party's Shankar Iyer, PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti, who also have been accused of exerting a blatantly Pak-skewed toxic influence on public discourse and for generating sympathy for Pakistan. Others from this group like NCMP, which is a National Conference Member of Parliament, Aga Rahula, are also accused of pitting Kashmiri Muslims against non-JNK domicile Indians. Mehbooba Mufti, for example, has said, viewers, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah's call to revive the Tulbul navigation project amid ongoing tensions between India and Pakistan is deeply unfortunate. Our people deserve peace as much as anyone else. Weaponizing something as essential and life-giving as water is not only inhumane, but also risks internationalizing what should remain a bilateral matter. Imagine, viewers, this is the view of a mainstream politician in this country that has been embraced by not only the BJP, but also the India bloc in the past. The BJP, of course, learnt their lessons, but not so much the India bloc, viewers. Can you believe it? So, blood can flow, but Pakistanis must get their water. We must dehyphenate, draw false moral equivalence. There's Shankar Iyer, viewers, Congress leader, serving. Till today we are living, he says, with the consequences of that partition. Is that the unresolved question of the partition reflected in the terrible tragedy in Pahalgam on April 22nd? Can you believe it, viewers? He's linking some absurd, completely off the wall happenstance to use it as a justification for Pahalgam. Whose side are these people on? Aga Rahula. He said, quote, which is being or what is being called tourism. It's not that in my view. This is a cultural invasion. It's happening by purpose and by design. And a particular set of people are being brought intentionally by design and for specific activities which are executed as part of a cultural invasion, if you please, viewers. So Indians who are going to Jammu and Kashmir, enriching the people there, are invaders, cultural invaders. India needs to make this malign ecosystem accountable, viewers. The sooner we do it, the better it is. There is no longer, this is absolutely no longer about influence. This is about sovereignty now. It's become a question of sovereignty. And let's open this up tonight. Let's put some fundamentally straightforward questions. You know I don't beat about the bush, viewers. Syed Asad Abbas, let me bring him in straight. Syed Asad Abbas, I know people like you talk about human rights. You talk about human rights, you talk about freedom of expression, free speech, all of this to justify all sorts of stuff. Now I want to ask you, are you also part of that league? And I have to ask you this question, very straightforward question. It's very, very simple. That wants to make the question of peace or aman into a tamasha, sir, and hide behind that to push all sorts of narratives. I want you to tonight take a position saying that people like this, these influencers, these politicians, should be excommunicated. They should be isolated. The Election Commission should take away their right to contest elections. Their political parties should be made accountable for the statements of these people. Would you be willing to go that far, sir? I hope you will tonight in national.
Rahul sir, I've always believed if there is great power, there is great responsibility and equal accountability. The league that I belong to, sir, is my beautiful country of India, Bharat, that is Hindustan. The fact of the matter is, we saw three political leaders, Mehbooba Mufti, we also saw Ruhullah, and we also saw Shankar Iyer. Coming to Mehbooba Mufti, let me take all three sitting ducks one by one. Mehbooba Mufti was a former ally of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Bharatiya Janata Party, who previously called her anti-national, but they were in cahoots. Why? Because they wanted to rule, to govern Kashmir. But all guns blow. It went flat and they had to derail the same. Coming to Manish Shankar Iyer, it was Mr. Rahul Gandhi who took a step and suspended him when he made comments against the Honorable Prime Minister of our country, Narendra Modi ji. The fact of the matter is, now coming to these so-called influencers like the Jyoti Malhotra that we see, the only way to deal with spy espionage is iron hands. There is no other way to go. And the message with Operation Sindoor has been clear to
let me quickly step in. No, Mr. Abbas, one second. I'm glad. Even I will endorse the latter part. But look, when you have politicians who give such a wide berth by turning into quasi-insurgents. Look at Nitisha Kaul, for example. What does she represent, sir? Do you agree with her or disagree with her? Do you believe Article 370, when it was abrogated, there were a large number of people in Jammu and Kashmir whose human rights were violated? I want to ask you, sir, do you accept that statement?
Respected sir, with respect to Nitasha Kaul, my stand has been absolutely clear that anybody who speaks against my country has absolutely
I want you to
no
tell
right
me,
to
sir,
be
do you
there, sir.
agree with the sum and substance of what she has said about Article 370 and the abrogation of Article 370? Do you agree with what the Congress has said, for example, about the CA? Because this is what creates this ecosystem. When the Congress or some other political parties talk about issues in a divisive, polarizing manner, a large number of others get their cues. These people are not just doing things randomly. They are preaching to an ecosystem. So I want you to answer the fundamental question. Do you agree that CA was an assault on the rights of Muslims? Yes, no?
So I've been absolutely clear with my stand of CAA. When it comes to our country, my stand has been sacrosanct. The fact of the matter...
I want you to tell me that CAA was not an imposition and discriminatory towards Indian Muslims. Just tell me that. I'll move on. I don't want to waste my time.
Sir, it was discriminatory on the basis that the law of the land in the constitution was made keeping religion
Article
in mind.
370, viewers, was also similarly discriminatory in their book. Now, when political mainstream voices like Abbas or the Congress or the PDP or several other political parties go out there, people like Jyoti Malhotra and others, Nitasha Kaul, etc., think that they have the free space to go out there and say all of this, viewers. The allowance begins with the political class. Now, if I ask Mr. Abbas to distinguish, he has a problem.
I'll tell you what the problem is.
No, there's no problem, sir. If you want to speak for your country, there's no problem.
Give me 10 seconds.
It's not a problem to be speaking up for your nation. You can't be saying, no, Article 370 was a violation of the spirit of the Constitution. CA was similarly a spirit. No, violation of the spirit when the Supreme Court has come and presided over at least one of these issues.
I'll make a larger point which you will agree with me.
And nobody has lost their citizenship after CA came into. So I want to ask you, I want to ask people like you, were you misleading? You are an influencer, sir. Why shouldn't you be brought to book for misleading the public? The CA has been put into place. It happened a year back. Name me one Muslim that has lost his citizenship.
So I was on your show on your previous channel in where I said that CA is not about taking citizenship, but it is about giving citizenship. The only bone of contention with CA, with the Muslim community and the class has been that the law of the land was made a secular land with religion in mind.
Come on. Why do you this is the problem, viewers. So you see, when you suddenly say, well, no, hang on, Pradeep Bhandari, would you like to respond to him? Because this is the problem. Viewers, when influencers will speak the language of separatists.
No, there is no
then there is a problem. People like me are held to account. No, 1 second. People like me, hang on. People like me are held to account. We are held to standards. But influencers are not. And in the name of free speech, viewers, they peddle propaganda, fake news, invalidated facts, and they masquerade as truism in this country.
Rahul, Influencers speak the language of separatists because Rahul Gandhi speaks the language of Pakistan. And that is the political fuel that this ecosystem gets. On this very day, Mr. Rahul Gandhi yet again has been quoted by the Pakistani media on his comment on the statement of Minister of External Affairs, Sri Jaishankar. When Congress party treats enemies as misunderstood friend, this is what happens, and this entire ecosystem which you were speaking about gets the fuel from Mr. Rahul Gandhi-led ecosystem. So I here charge Mr. Rahul Gandhi directly responsible for fueling this sentiment in this country, this fringe. Please allow me. In the Tukde gang which was in JNU, who was the political protagonist? It was Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Who is right now the political protagonist for Pakistan in post-Operation Sindoor, when the entire world is celebrating India's victory? It is Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Once it happens, it is a coincidence. Twice is happenstance, but when thrice it happens, it is enemy action. Let me just quote you a certain instance. This is not for the first time this has happened, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, because I believe till the time you do not cure that, none of this will happen. Today it is Jyoti Malhotra, Arman, tomorrow it might be somebody else, because all of them will have this political shield from the Congress party. Go back after independence, Rahul, you are an extremely avid reader of history. What did Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru do? Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru opposed and refused nuclear technology at that time, which was given by by the United States of America. Mr. Nehru was followed by Ms. Indira Gandhi, who 2 months after Operation Smiling Buddha said that she wanted to give the nuclear technology to Pakistan. And Mr. Rajiv Gandhi believed in nuclear disarmament when China already was a nuclear power and Pakistan was enriching uranium. So till the time the Congress party continues its separatist pro-Pakistan stand, continues to question our forces, continues to peddle the Chinese and the Pakistani narrative, you will have these influencers on the likes of Jyoti Malhotra,
let me ask that question.
Having this fuel to go forward and peddle an anti-Indian narrative.
Mr. Ravi Srivastava, when the ecosystem talks about dialogue, you give oxygen. You give oxygen to people who think they are now part of some back channel. They will land up for iftar parties at the Pakistani High Commission. And when the media, people like me question Indians who fraternize with the Pakistani diplomats, etc. at the High Commission for iftar, you accuse us of being hawks. You accuse us of being jingoistic. You accuse us of being the saboteurs of peace, of dialogue, of aman. When we call for example, complete cessation of what is known as this cultural exchange.
Track
2, this seminar circuit. You say you are killing the idea of India because you are militating against the free flow of ideas, etc., etc. I want you to take a position tonight and say you were wrong. And that all ties, people to people, should be snapped with Pakistan. Because this is what happens.
Good evening, Rahul. First of all, let me tell you that we should talk about the enemy within. The enemy within is these Jyoti Malhotras are just the pawns in the hands of those people. Can you or me get any military secret or defense operation? No, sir, never.
What are you saying, sir?
Why Jyoti Malhotra could get it? Who are the people behind Jyoti Malhotra?
What is he saying?
Who are the people providing this? Who are the people who are percolating this? Who are the real enemies? As far as the politics
So she's not a real enemy. It's the others who are the real enemy.
She is only a face.
What do you mean she's a face? She's a collaborator.
She is only a face. There are people
what do you mean she's only a face? She's a collaborator.
There are people behind us.
This is exactly on your show how Gaddari against the country is being
one second, by this logic, by this logic, a terrorist, one second, there was a terrorist, there was a famous terrorist, excuse me, sir, 1 second, sir, he was a maths teacher's son. Caught in the conflict. Viewers, Burhan Wani. By this logic, you see, Burhan Wani is a pawn. He's only a face.
Yes.
You see, poor Kasab, he was an impoverished youth who got sucked into it. You see, a whole brigade of people, viewers, tomorrow, will be
Trial
given
will
a free
prove it,
pass.
sir.
Because they are
Trial
only
will prove
incidental.
it. Trial will prove it.
Oh,
Whether
trial will-
Burhan Wani
What is
was
he
a
trying to
terrorist.
say? What do we have to
Kasab
prove?
was-
We should let her go.
Kasab did kill people point blank.
So, sir, but many people said,
Jyoti Malhotra
including a lot of
and
other people who
Jyoti
came out and
Malhotra
said that it is an
daughter
RSS ki
who-
sajish.
who-
And
who
many others
provided-
said he's only a pawn, which he perhaps
asking-
was, but that didn't make him any
provided-
less. No, excuse me,
who
sir, please.
No, I
provided it,
object
sir.
here, Rahul.
No.
A collaborator in terror activities, whether he or she is
Did
giving
I-
intellectual
did I
cover to a
give-
terrorist,
I want to
is
ask her.
equal.
No, one second, one
is
second.
equal
No, 1 minute, please,
responsible.
please, 1 second. Let me just
I
ask a
said, go
simple
ahead,
question
prove
tonight.
it.
1 second, sir. I'm just asking a simple question of you, Mr. Srivastava.
Please.
Will you define Manishankar Iyer, Mehbooba Mufti, Agha Rahula as insurgents? Yes or no?
No, they are not.
They are not.
No, they are not.
Viewers, there's
They
something
are-
called intellectual
then our-
insurgency
then
in this
our-
country.
then our-
Sayyid
then
Abbas
our
was
prime
clever.
There is intellectual
Then
terrorism
our
also,
prime
Rahul.
minister
So,
also-
Sayyid
And these are
Abbas was-
intellectual terrorists.
One second.
Prime
Sir, no,
Minister
hang
too.
on. Let now just why would you say that an individual who sits on Indian soil and says that look, the people who died in Pahalgam didn't die because of hatred, but an unfinished question that dates back to pre-1947. What do you call those people, sir?
That's a nonsense. Utter
So
nonsense.
then tell me, that was the view of Manishankar Iyer. Why are you
Talk
not
of today.
suggesting? No, then why are you saying that he's not an intellectual insurgent in this country, peddling a narrative?
See, if somebody,
Can I answer
somebody
that, Rahul, sir?
speaks his own mind, then where is the question of calling him insurgent?
Oh my
Speaks
God.
his mind. And as per the
okay,
law-
so hang on. Why
If
should
as
then
per the
Kanhaiya
law-
Kumar, no, then tell me, Kanhaiya Kumar, the
he's
Tukre
not.
lobby, excuse me, sir,
No, sir.
Kanhaiya Kumar, the
Nonsense.
Tukre lobby, why is he in the
Utter
Congress
nonsense.
party?
No,
Is he
sir,
not a
no.
political insurgent? Isn't he
was
an
not.
intellectual
He
insurgent?
was not.
He was
If
not.
Rahul sir,
So you
why-
can
yeah,
ask for the dissolution
why
of
could
your
you-
country.
Why could you not prove and hang him till
Okay,
date?
okay.
May
One
I-
second,
may I
Rajat
just-
Sethi.
5
Why
seconds.
could you not
Let me
prove
bring in
and hang
Rajat
him till
Sethi.
date?
You see, all these people,
Tukre was the
people
biggest
are
nonsense
activists.
played in this
No,
country.
1 second. They're activists. They represent a stream of very evolved.
Absolutely, I am in my senses that there was no Tukre gang in this country.
There was no Tukre
Not at all.
Wow.
There's been
No,
no
not at all,
Tukre
sir.
gang.
So when Hafiz Saeed
At
praises a
least
political
JNU
party, what will you call that political party
Oh,
as?
come on,
When an
Hafiz
intellectual
Saeed.
backs the Pakistan, will you not call that intellectual as an intellectual terrorist?
When hundreds and thousands of people in the
if
middle
he
of
is on
Mumbai
mic-
take the janaza
Sir,
of
you
no,
told-
take
you-
the janaza of a terrorist,
you sent
what do you
off-
call them?
You sent off
These are
Masood
intellectual
Azhar.
terrorists.
You
That's what
sent
they
off
are.
Masood Azhar.
Wow,
You
this is
carried Masood Azhar
preposterous.
to Afghanistan, sir.
This is
You
pre-
carried Masood Azhar.
Sir, do you know
We
the
have-
circumstances?
We have murdered Masood Azhar's
Today.
entire family, and we'll also get the
Masood
head of
Azhar
Masood Azhar, my
was
dear
taken
friend.
by
Don't worry
you
about it.
people
Okay, let me
to
just get in,
Afghanistan.
Rajat. One second,
You carried him
One
there.
second, Mr. Sethi. Look, I don't want this to become a cacophonous debate, viewers.
Okay.
We have to separate the wheat from the chaff. We cannot go around creating exceptions anymore, Rajat Sethi, for people who constantly undermine the national interest and pass it off as opinion. Because today, that particular individual has a massive reach.
Yes.
This is no longer about people talking amongst themselves in a seminar room to 10 people. Their voice gets amplified. Their voice gets picked up by our enemies and then made viral. People listen to it. Impressionable minds view these videos. Rajat Sethi, this is a completely different level we are talking about tonight. And here, we have people who can't call these people out for what they are, insurgents. Now you imagine someone sitting in Kashmir will say, no, you see, the money. No, hang on. You know, they'll say that the water, for example, why are we stopping water for Pakistanis?
There are some
What is their
communists who
fault?
even paraded in the
What is-
streets of Calcutta, backing that.
Okay, one second. Yes, Rajat Sethi.
Sir, Mr. Jaishankar is the hero of the
Rahul,
Pak media today. You see
Arey
the
Srivastava
statement
ji,
there.
please allow others.
He's
to
a
speak.
hero of the Pak
Carry on,
media
sir.
because Rahul Gandhi misinterpreted
Yes.
his statements and made him one. I'll
Yes,
come to
and
that
this
in
is
just a
Rahul
few
Gandhi.
moments.
He said
No,
it.
1 second.
He said it. He said it in his statement.
Oh, come on,
you
sir.
played
Please
again.
don't be
this-
so
come on,
don't
you
be
always
so
stand
petty
still
tonight.
before
No,
Rajat.
no,
Don't
one
use
second,
the
one
word.
second, one second.
Don't
No, I'll
mince the
come back
word,
to
please.
we are having a separate debate on this.
Don't
So hang
mince
on.
the word.
Hold your
Don't
fire,
mince the
sir.
word.
Hold your fire
Yeah.
because I know where you're going with
On your
this.
show, it's very difficult
I
to
know
hold
where you're
fire,
going.
Rahul.
One second, Rajat Sethi. Quick response.
Well, Rahul, I don't have a response to Mr. Srivastav's delusional
Don't
worldview.
give it to me.
He can live in his delusional worldview. Good luck to him. See, the problem that we are facing is a 98-2 problem. 98% of this country thinks how a rational nationalist mind should think. The problem is with this 2%, and most of these 2% have microphones with them. So they can broadcast their message at much higher, greater scale than what the 98 can do. The challenge before our country, therefore, is that how do you deal with clowns like Natasha Call? You can go out and cancel their OCI. They'll crib. They'll continue to write articles in influential dailies and try and craft a narrative against India. How should we do? And therefore, I have personally put in a thought. Is a compulsory military service going to be a responsibility that all Indians, no matter what region, color, community that you come from, you need to have a compulsory 1 year military training the way Israel does? Can we do it at that scale of ours? Maybe, maybe not. Otherwise, what else can we do? It is individuals like yourself, Rahul, who are articulate, who've written such phenomenal books. You need to start writing and shaping the narrative globally and countering what the Natasha Calls of the world are trying to do. There is no other answer to these absolute anti-national elements that are growing and festering in our country. When I used to study at IIT, I can tell you, we used to go and visit JNU campuses. Back in those days also, they used to talk about our own parts of our own country in ways that Meghalaya ko azadi deni hai, Manipur ko azadi deni hai, Nagaland ko azadi deni hai. Those are the same lines that today Bangladesh chief advisor is talking about. So, you try and create these fault lines in our country only to be used by our anti-national forces around the world. They will use it, they will scavenge on it. But these idiots who do not understand the seriousness of what they are saying and writing, how do you deal with them? That is the real challenge. We need permanent solutions for this.
I agree with you, but only up till the point. I don't want to call these people idiots.
Absolutely.
They are not bumbling fools. Let me tell you, Rajat, they are playing to a particular plan. And that plan has been, look at what happened during the Kisan Andolan, viewers. Look at what happened during the Kisan Andolan. Political parties from the opposition went to these Kisan people. One of them was the Aam Aadmi Party, with pizzas and God alone knows what else. Food, blankets. They spent time there. And who is turned against the same Kisan, viewers? The Punjab government. Who runs the Punjab government? It's the AAP. This is a low-level intellectual insurgency that is being wielded against this country, viewers. And the people who are doing so flit in and out of the mainstream and into the underground. That's how it's happening. It's seamless almost. They say one thing to some audience and quite the other. And Ashutosh Mishra, I want to ask you, and I'm going to read out a sentence, and you have to tell me a very specific thing. Let me ask you this. Let me first quote this person. That is being called tourism is not that in my view. This is a cultural invasion. Now the National Conference, sir, shares power with the Congress Party. It's an influential member of the India bloc. The India bloc, other parties, the UBT Shiv Sena, the NCP of Sharad Pawar, the TMC, the DMK, the Congress, the Samajwadi Party, the RJD have no problem with this statement. What would you call this group of people who think that tourists are cultural invaders, sir? What would you call them? In my book, they're hate mongers. What would you call them?
And I agree with you.
I agree with you. So then tell me, sir, why is Aga Rahula, why is the National Conference still part of the India bloc?
That's not for me to answer.
That is not for you to answer.
And in fact, if you are talking about India,
should he be? Should he be?
A few days ago, Chidambaram wasn't sure whether India bloc is still sticking.
Oh, come on, sir. Let's not trivialize this debate. You know what I'm getting at. I want you to tell me, why is there silence? Now, hang on. If there was an individual within the BJP who came out and said, for example, that, you see, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, anyone that is coming from any other state is a cultural invader, what would your reaction have been, sir? Or There have been people in the BJP who have said, for example, that Islamic people are cultural invaders, and they continue. They continue to be militating against our Hindu culture. What do you call them, sir? You call them bigots. Yes or no? And you say action should be taken. Here you're saying ask those other people. Where is the activism, sir? Why aren't you coming out and saying that the Congress party is wrong to be in alliance with the NC?
Didn't I say as much that they are hate mongers? And
so then tell me, sir, if they are hate mongers, does that make the Congress? No, then what does that make the Congress? A party that is communal because its silence speaks louder than its words? Would you agree?
What I think you are trying to say here is this is the same national conference which was in alliance with BJP. Now, the Abdullahs were, Umar Abdullah was the minister in Vajpayee. So maybe
but anybody in NDA speaks the language of NDA, my dear friend. In NDA, you abrogate Article 370. In UPA, you say Pakistan Zindabad. That's the difference, Ashutosh ji.
So,
Ashutosh ji, my simple question, and Rahul, I believe if these are hate...
Let him finish. One second, let him finish. You can respond. Yeah, Ashutosh Mishra, please finish your statement.
So what I was saying was...
So what about is your response? Go ahead. First response is what about them? Okay.
No, you are skirting the more important issue.
No, I'm asking you, this is the only issue.
Mr. Bhandari. The issue here is that why are political parties getting away with their anti-national stance? That's your question. And I'm asking
no, that's not my question, sir. My question is, if there are political parties that are giving wide berth to bigotry, what does that make them, if not communal? Answer that question. Would you agree? Silence on Aga Rahula means that the Congress is communal. It plays the politics of appeasement. It has a problem with Hindus. Yes or no?
When I hear you talking about politics of appeasement, I am reminded about that BJP minister in Madhya Pradesh who was saying that Colonel Sufia Qureshi is sister of Pakistani terrorists. This talk about appeasement and vote politics is itself shows that the person who's talking about that is spreading communal bigotry. And BJP here is the main culprit because if you remember Jyotirajit Scindia way back in 2017, when in Madhya Pradesh people were BJP and Bajrang Dal people were
hate is a too small a word. I will call them anti-national communal bigots because the birth of communal politics in this country happened because of the Congress party. Post-independence, I was listening to my dear friend. I was listening to
one second. Ashutosh, you made a charge against the BJP.
Allow me to respond.
Okay, you made a charge against the BJP. There is a minister, and I've tweeted against this minister, Pradeep Bhandari. They are saying that, look, I mean, if anyone is playing the communal card, the appeasement card, it's the BJP. So everything is fair in love and war.
Well, first of all, we're waiting for the Supreme Court to take a decisive action. That is point number one on the minister's part. Ashutosh, please let's go back to history. The birth of communal politics has been Congress party. Maximum communal riots in this country has taken place during the time of Congress party. As per all the reports, the country is safest in the last 10 years vis-a-vis what it was in the time of Congress party. So the Congress's agenda is to pit a Hindu against the Muslim. Our agenda is not that. This is where if you see the maximum innocent lives lost in the riot has been during the time of the Congress party. Everybody remembers the infamous Calcutta riots. Everybody remembers the number of riots which took place during Nehruji's time. Everybody remembers the Muzaffarnagar riots. And for them, communal bigotry, secularism, this is where secularism
I want to, before I move on to the second part, viewers, before I move on to one second, gentlemen, before I pivot to the second part of this show, which is related in a sense, viewers, I just want to repeat what I said. India needs to make this malign ecosystem accountable, viewers. This is no longer about influence. It is about sovereignty and the way we define our sovereignty. Let me tell you, we are at that point of inflection. This has gone completely out of hand. We don't know anymore who is doing what to what end, because there is complete anarchy And you know why, viewers? Because people are taking democracy for a ride in this country under the garb of freedom of expression. This is an example, viewers. This is an example of people crossing the Rubicon, the point of no return. What are we going to do about it? That's the question. Are we all going to sit here and attack each other, not allow for consensus? Or are we going to rise to the occasion and see this for what it is? An intellectual insurgency. Because, let me tell you, there's no polite way, and I'm going to go...
Network 18 decimates Times Internet with over 6 times more unique users on social media. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the times.